All right. Hey there. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope everything is going your way in the process of recovery. I hope that you are starting to see or that you realize what an amazing journey this is and the changes in your life that are going to take place in the process of recovery. It is a beautiful thing when you finally have the ability to put down the drugs or the alcohol or the behavior or whatever has been the central cause of the problems in your life, and you have either a beginning to or a continued spiritual awakening, and you are have awakened to the possibilities of the beautiful things that can happen in your life now that you are free from the bondage of addiction. Today, I'd like to talk about step two. And step two says that we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. There's really three things that I want to talk to you about in terms of step two, and that is coming to believe, and that is what a power greater than ourselves, and that is a restoration to sanity. And so, coming to believe for me was really, if I could encompass a word for that, it would be hope. Step two is absolutely hard to pick favorites, but step two is by far my favorite step, and I'll tell you why. Because when I came into the rooms of recovery, I was absolutely hopeless. Like, it was pretty bad, and I had given up on life, and I just really didn't care anymore. And the reason that I didn't care is because I had tried with all my might many times in my life to change a behavior that I was participating in, and it never seemed to change. And so several years before I got sober, I had given up. I just didn't care anymore. And I hadn't been suicidal before that, but my behavior said that I was, because I just didn't care. And I was hopeless. And so, I've talked about various steps before, and I always like to start with step zero. And step zero was all the times in my life when drugs and alcohol had caused damage in my life, and despite my attempts to stop or control the behavior, I was unable to do so. And coming to the realization that that was the truth in my life allowed me to complete step zero. Step one was really when I surrendered to that. Okay, so now I've given up. I can't do this anymore. This thing has kicked my ass, and I'm ready for a change, and I just don't know what to do. I'm still feeling hopeless at that point because I have no idea that there's a possibility for change, right? And so I come into the rooms of recovery and I start to hear people telling these stories about their own drinking and using and the insanity that took place inside of that drinking and using. And what happened is, as I'm listening to these stories, I'm relating to what they're saying. Me too, me too, me too. That happened to me too. Oh my God. I couldn't change either. And so I start to really relate to what these people were sharing. And they were sharing just intimate details of their own lives and things that people outside of the world of addiction would be embarrassed to even talk about, would just be like mortified and horrified and, oh my God, how are you saying that in public? And it wasn't like that. It's not like that to those of us that have been in those situations. That's the way we've been living. So when we hear those stories, all we can do is relate, right? And so they were talking about their own insanity. And then the most powerful thing happened is they were talking about the way that they're living now. And the way that they're living now had there was no obsession to keep doing the things that they were doing. They were free from that bondage. They had somehow broken the chains of addiction and were living these happy, joyous, and free lives. And I was like, oh my God, it is possible. And I want some of that, right? And so I had come to believe that there was a possibility that I could make the change too, because these people were just like me and they had made that change. And I thought, if they can do it, maybe I can do it too. And so I'd come to believe that I could be free from that insanity. The power greater than myself, I didn't have to know what that was. I didn't have to know what that was. I knew that I could not make the change by myself. And simply by coming into the rooms of recovery and joining with other people that were going through the process, and other people that were a couple of steps ahead of me in terms of making that change in their life, that right there was a power greater than me. Anything that is a greater the power than me, two of us, two alcoholics or addicts sitting down together and helping each other is a power greater than either one of those by themselves. And so I had come to believe by listening to the stories of others that there was a power, the power in the collective community of recovery greater than myself that would allow me to make that change so that I didn't have to live in that insanity anymore. So it's pretty simple when you break it down like that. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And that is as simple as step 2 gets. What I gained from that, I remember when that happened and I was just like brought to tears. Like I started crying, because it was the first time, maybe in a long time and maybe ever, that I was filled with hope. The hope and the belief that I could make that change too. So if you're new to the recovery process or you're old in the recovery process, either grab hold of that step 2 or revisit that step 2 and listen to those in recovery around you and come to believe that you can make that change as well. And of course, pass that on to others. And what you will find, I hope that you find the hope that I had found when I first came into the recovery process, because that is really what kept me around. And then what allowed me to continue in the recovery process, we will cover in more detail in later videos as we lean towards step 3, which is the first of the action steps. It's the first time we actually do something other than surrendering and listening and showing up to the rooms, right? Like we actually have to take some actions towards the internal change that needs to take place for me and you and anybody else who's going to be in the recovery process to stick around here. So if you find these videos informative, I have a YouTube channel. It's called Real Simple Recovery. And if you go there and whatever you do on those things, subscribe, like, follow, or you can follow Bob Sherritt's on TikTok, because I put him on TikTok as well. And my Facebook page is Bob Sherritt's as well. So I hope that you find what I have found here, and I hope this is helpful to you, and I hope that this little bit of me giving back allows somebody else to stay. Have a great day.